Assalamu alaikum. Welcome. I'm excited for today's interview. Happy Women's History Month. It is March. It is also Sha'ban. We are also just 2 weeks away from Ramadan, and tonight is Nusf Sha'ban. So it's very appropriate that the person that we are meeting today is who we call Imam Fadiyah. Fadiyah is responsible, one of our responsible people. We have Imam Fadiyah and Imam Samia, who are responsible for our online digital Masjid. So we'll talk a little bit about that and the use of the term. And we're going to talk to her about her vision of what does it mean to be #We Are Our History. And I can see that you're here. So what you have to do now is just ask to join, and I'll push the button and let you in. Alhamdulillah. As you can see, I got a little bit stuck. I meant to have this interview from the Rabata Cultural Center, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had different plans. And so I think it's fun. It's so much fun to do these interviews from wherever we happen to be, because that's really what life is about. It's about doing things from wherever we are and living this beautiful deen from wherever we are. You can see, and this is my car, and I've got in the back there some sleds, because I live in Minnesota and we go sledding sometimes. That's from the last time that I went sledding with my grandchildren. They're still in the car because you never know when the opportunity might come up where we can go sledding again. So I've just left them in the car, so I never have to go home and get them in order to be able to go sledding with them. So alhamdulillah. Okay, so Imam Fadiyah, I know that I saw you here. So sunny Florida, huh? Well, I have to say I like snow. You need to ask for me to join you, and maybe you can get some help with that from someone if you're not sure what buttons to push. And until you come on, let me talk a little bit about who is Imam Fadiyah. I have known her for many years. Actually, she came to Syria years ago and met me there. SubhanAllah, I met her there. MashaAllah, 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 the beautiful family that is the Mian family. It is a family of 4 daughters. Everyone is special and unique and really blessed, really blessed. Some of you know Dr. Sadia Mian, who is the author of Crowning Venture. Imam Fadiyah is her sister. So that's really exciting, I know, for many of you, because you are big fans of Dr. Sadia, mashallah. And also, oops, we have here a little pause, I think. Okay, there we go. So we have at Rabata, let me back up even a little bit more. When I was studying for my doctorate at the University of St. Thomas, I was really looking into something called digital communities, digital religion, digital leadership, and really doing a deep dive into these things. I became very interested in them, and especially how we as Muslim women can live in these spaces in a healthy, productive, and positive way. And so this was going on in my mind. I was interested in this. And then when COVID hit, we were already an online organization, many of you know, but when COVID hit, we said, oh, how are we taking care of all of these women that are at home? Oh, I see her. She's coming on, looks like from her daughter. So that they are cared for in Ramadan. And so we started an online.
Walaikum salam. Yeah,
some help from the teenager,
so sorry.
huh?
For
That's
some
how
reason, I didn't have that the feature to request to join. So Hafsa gave me her phone.
No worries at all. If you could just pull it just adjust it so we can
sorry,
see more
let
than
me
just your
plug
nose.
in
That
my
would be
charger
awesome.
too.
Yes. You're fine. And while you're doing that, I am telling everyone how we got an online masjid. And so that Ramadan, we started this online masjid, and it was awesome. And Imam Fadiyah here was in charge of the programming at that masjid. So just for clarity, in our online masjid, we do not pray together because that would be praying through a screen, but we do adhkar, we do dua, we have other kinds of programming that you might have at any masjid. And so as that Ramadan was over and we were talking about closing down that programming, Ansaredana is our beloved Ribaat. She said, a masjid that has been open should not be closed. And that really touched my heart. And so it is now a program, a project of Rabata called Rabata Masjid or Masjid Rabata. We call it both of them. And Imam Fadiyah became the Imam. Now, some people are like, why do you call her Imam? Are you trying to be a man? No. You see, Imam means a leader. And in a masjid, we are used to the idea of the leader of a masjid being called an Imam. And if Imam Fadi was praying with you, women, she would be your Imam in that prayer. So that's where that word comes from. And I know that, so here you are. And I was telling a little bit about how I met you first in Syria. I did not say a couple other biographical things. I'll let you respond to this whole idea of Iman. You are Imam. You are a mother of four, right? MashaAllah, mother of four. You are a trained teacher and you have worked as a teacher. You've worked as a homeschooling mom. You've done a lot. You're very much of a community person. I would call you a community servant. I see you as someone who really goes on to the community and serves it more than organizes. You know how some people are community organizers? I really think of you more as a servant, mashallah. You are a graduate of the Ribaat program and you have your ijazah in Quran and so many other amazing things about you. And so what do you say when people ask you, wait, why are you using this weird word, Imam?
Yeah, so I just, share with them. Well, if they're on social media, I share the video you made about using the word Imam. But, I just explained to them how, it's that I lead the programs, the Ibadah programs for Rabata, and how we're using this term. And that anybody who is a leader, like we should all be imams, right? We should all be leaders in our communities, and it's important for women to step up as well and to show other women and to teach them how to reclaim their faith as well. So this is what our spaces are geared towards, is educating women and having them take ownership of their ibadah and their worship.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, well, we are here celebrating Women's History Month, and we have been having a wonderful time. I've been having a wonderful time interviewing women of Rabata because hashtag we are our history. And so I want you to think with me about and you have 4 children, so I want you to think about your grandchildren. Nope. Their grandchildren. Nope. Theirs. So 5 generations. Go forward about 5 generations. And I want you to dream a little bit. What do you hope for them what do you hope for them as living as Muslims in community at that time? What do you hope for them? Most likely you and I will not be here. May Allah give you a long life. Inshallah. But most likely at that point, we will not be here. So what do you hope that they will see and that they will have and they will be experiencing?
The biggest thing I feel right now, and the purpose of all the programming that we're doing, is to create leaders. And inshallah, this is what I hope and I pray and I wish for, is that from generations from now, from my lineage and from all of the women who we're all working with Rabata and Ribaat through, educating them, that inshallah we're strengthening our lineages, and inshallah we'll create leaders. That's what we're doing right now, is we're investing our time, our money, our effort in educating women who are the ones who are going to make the difference in the families, because they're the ones who are teaching the children, more than likely they're home with the kids. And to create spaces where, if women don't feel like they're welcome in their regular masjid, because some of them have young kids and kids who are running around and, haven't learned the adab of sitting in a masjid quite yet. And, and sometimes the masjids are not as welcoming. So what we're doing is in Masjid Rabata and having these programs is teaching women how they can worship at home. Like, for instance, in Ramadan, um, we have programming which is going on throughout the whole month. You know, we're having women come in, 30 different women reciters coming in and who have ijazas, they're Quran teachers, and they're doing a regular speed recitation and a slow speed recitation. And we teach women how they can also make itikaf the last 10 days in their own home, you know, and giving them the tools to do this. And by this, and by educating them, and by them seeing this, um, they're impacting their children, you know, and then inshallah, we hope for this to carry on and to pass forward from generation to generation. So,
So that's beautiful. So if we're thinking about, imagine those little Imam Fadiyahs that are standing up and they're leaders wherever they go. So I think leadership is kind of an attitude, isn't it? It's an attitude of confidence where there is no, it's not, it's in such a secular world today, we don't know how much more secular it's going to be, or if it's going to, if people will find this, that which is sacred again, if we can say it like that. But it doesn't matter then. If you're really confident and you have a measure of leadership to at least lead yourself, you know, then you are safe. You're safe no matter what the rest of what else is going on in the world. I like that. I like that thinking about those little grandchildren 5 generations from now being leaders of themselves and their families and their communities and all
right.
those
So
places.
something cute too, Auntie,
MashaAllah.
was in when COVID had started, and you know, I started leading all the programming in the masjid, and my youngest is he's a boy, and he was what, so it was 3 years ago, so he was like 9ish, and you know, he was seeing like all the programming and everything going on, and he came up to me and he goes, Ami, will you be my sheikha? I thought that was so cute because I was like, you know, he sees the value of women, you know, women leaders, and it's just a great experience for kids to be able to see women in this leadership position.
Women talking about Quran, women talking about prayer, women talking, feeling confident and talking about dhikr, women sharing those moments together. But that is, I just want to pause on that. I don't want to just move quickly beyond what you just said, because I feel like there's something really important there. I hear from a lot of young women the struggle to find Muslim men who are on their wavelength. I hear from a lot of young women the concern about what's happening to our men. And what you just said to me about your son, how what it's we are impacting the future boys and girls. The boys, if just because what you see to be real, you know you can support. So in your son seeing you as a person who cares about deen, who cares about worship, who cares about other women, who cares about community, who cares about your family, who cares about your work, who cares about all of these things with real love and sincerity, with all of this care packaged for Allah, then your son knows that that is the possibility of men and women, not only men. That's powerful.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I felt at that moment, it was that moment of kind of like, yes, you know, like he's seeing the value of, you know, female scholarship, and that, you know, this is, I mean, it was just really powerful moment. Like I just was touched, even if I, you know, he doesn't take me as his sheikha, but you know, it just the fact that he thought that this is a possibility, and let me ask my mom if she'll be my sheikha. So yeah.
That's beautiful. MashaAllah. Okay, let's continue this dreaming. Um, the other question I've been asking people is, if you think of the Muslim Ummah from now, okay, this is not and no longer anymore just about your grandchildren, but the Muslim Ummah. What are your worries? What are your hopes? And especially what your hopes, like where do you hope we might be able to be? At Rabata, we're about positive cultural change. So, and the question I'll ask you after that is going to have to do with how you're contributing to that. But so just right now, just the hopes, like what do you hope for the Muslim
That
Ummah
we
100
build
years from
strong
now?
institutions, and I know we're starting to get involved with this, but endowments, seeing the value and the importance
Mm-hmm.
of having endowments set up so we're not constantly raising funds, but the endowments are supporting our work.
I love that. That's so, and I just, subhanAllah, how that every human being is so important in building history, building a legacy. Because here you are, I invited Imam Fadiyah. She is the one who's in charge of the message. She's talking about worship, and I say, what is the thing that you're hoping for? And you're like, money.
Because, to run successful organizations, the effort shouldn't be constantly that we're, sorry to use this word, but begging for money. It shouldn't be that. It should be that we have the system set up where we're, investing it with experts who are gonna, inshallah, all of our programmings will pay for themselves in the end. We don't have to worry about that, inshallah.
I mean, if you think about the kinds of endowments that places like Harvard have, for example, and the freedom that gives them to accept who they want, to grow what they want, etc. Yeah, that's really beautiful. And I want, let's talk about that for a second, because something that's 100 years from now, we have big endowments. To get there, that means that we as a Muslim community really need to professionalize, right? We need to professionalize our institutions. We need to professionalize our philanthropy. We need to professionalize all of these things, so that, of course, when I say professionalize, I mean first within the sunnah of the Prophet, because his sunnah is above anything that we might call professionalizing. It's the most beautiful and the most the best and the smoothest and the most wonderful of all ways. And then along with that are the things that we've learned around the professionalization of nonprofits, what it means to be able to pay people fairly. What does it mean to be able to have data so that you can examine your programs and make sure that what you're doing is good? So how do you feel about that? So, okay, the question I really want to ask you is, what are you doing in your role? And I'm so interested to hear how you're going to answer, because is your role at Rabata, hashtag we are our history, we're creating history right now. What are you doing in your role to help ensure the future professionalization and building of endowments for the Muslim Ummah?
That's a good question. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love the question.
Yeah.
I love thinking, actually.
So I walked into this. Alhamdulillah, since we've started, the one thing we've noticed is that there's been a consistent, almost 200 women coming to every single program. We reach sometimes 500. And when women see the value of what's happening, what we're doing, we have our weekly qiyams. And even the husbands start seeing the value, and they see the change in their wives as well. There's somebody, whose husband makes sure that she wakes up and she joins, because, he knows that she gets cranky and crabby if she misses her qiyam. So it's, people seeing the value in the programming, and mashallah, 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 every Ramadan, we have, amazing women who step forward giving large amounts to do donor matches, and being in the masjid and being in these spaces that we're gathering, it gives that opportunity for us to, get on into, you have 250 women on, and, everybody's contribution to that, whether it's big or small, makes a huge, huge, huge impact. And it's coming from, sincerity from people's, hard-earned halal income. And, and it's really the sincerity behind it that, alhamdulillah, the barakah keeps flowing in. So, yeah.
MashaAllah. I want to say something else too. So one of the things that you've been able to do in the masjid is learn how to become a person who collects data. And one of the ways to grow professionalization is to be responsible and transparent, right? So how did that formation?
Because Auntie knows that every time those reports come out, I'd be like grumbling on the inside but smiling on the outside. So I'm not a huge collector of data. Like for me, it's just like, and especially in Masjid Rabata, it's just like go, 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 go. Like we finish one program, we're not even done with the first program, and we're already on, the next two programs, organizing, who's going to be speaking, who's the singers, because we have, it's all females, so we have some women coming on and reciting nasheed for us. And so now when I look back and we're comparing and we're looking at the data, now I see the value, and especially when we're talking about the impact reports, right? So that really, really, really hits you when you see the numbers. And like we collect every year, we collect salawat, sent to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We have this istighfar program. We collect khatams, the khitma, so the khitma project. We have all these projects going on, and it's, we can see the impact that we're making each year, and it's sustaining. It's like it's a sustainable program. We see that, and it's really powerful when I look back and I stop and I think, I get the chills. I really do get the chills, and just think about, it's not okay. So let's say it's 150 in the women who are attending. Multiply each one of those women by at least five. At least five people. That who they're influencing and they're impacting. So it's just really
Yeah.
powerful to think of the thousands of people who are being, affected and impacted by the programming that we're doing.
Yeah, and I also want to pick up on something you said in that. So that's beautiful. And you're talking about how you are impacting change, the history, so that in the future, more professionalization in larger Muslim organizations through data collection in the masjid. I love it so much. But also you said something really important, which I'm going to bring it back to the spiritual stuff that you're usually like to talk about more, which is this idea of a collective istighfar. So you talked about one of the projects at Rabata Masjid is to collect people's istighfar. So can you say what do you mean by that? Not everyone will know by that. Collect istighfar, what do you mean? And then also say how you think that affects culture and how that impacts the future.
Right. So we call on everybody. It's a call to action at the beginning of Rajab, which is the sacred month, Islamic month. And we call on, women to make a global istighfar, right? To turn back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and repent. So we start off the month, and, I recommend for everyone, and this is, something that you have taught us, is that, really come with sincerity to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, pleading and begging, for him to forgive you, to make a ghusl with this intention, and to pray 2 rak'ahs of tawbah at the beginning of the month. And then to continue throughout the whole month, and continue to recite istighfarullah, and use different forms of istighfar throughout the whole month. And we gather it and we collect it all together. And, we have a Rabata app, and we have, this is where we collect it. And this year, I think we said we had 13.6 million istighfar, happening. And it's global. It's from women all over the world, and it just, this is where, you see the change, which is happening, the global change. It's a movement, a movement of, and it makes a difference, it makes a difference inside of you, and, in the organization, and everybody gets involved in it. It's just really, and we have WhatsApp threads as well too, and we have, great admins. I have a great team too with Masjid Rabata. Shout out to the team. And they sincere women who are there for, the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and serving him. And so they come on, and, it's nonstop encouragement on all these different threads that we have. We have Islamic month thread, we have the tahajjud threads. Again, that's very powerful too, where, if you've made this commitment for tahajjud, you have a whole support system to help you. There's hundreds of women in your region, who are getting up at the same time and supporting each other. We have one for qada prayers to make up, for fasting. So we have just a lot of, you just need to make the intention, and we have the resources for you. So just make the intention, enjoy.
You really, that's beautiful what you said, and it made me think of a couple of things connecting to what we're talking about today. One is that, 13 million istighfar. around many hundreds, possibly thousands of women who are calling out to Allah in Tawbah. And hashtag we are our history. So this is, you know how we talk about collective and cultural trauma? And between this and the collection of salawat, my heart just kind of did a little bump, or I don't know what to say, that it's like we are together healing our ummah to create a healed ummah for the future. Let's get away from trauma. Let's get away from post-colonial stress disorder. Let's get away from, I mean, we have some serious things, but let's move forward. Know that they're there. I'm not saying forget them, but with the healing of istighfar and salawat, that's really changing the future. That's powerful stuff.
Absolutely. And just like Rajab,
Allah.
right? You're reminding me of Rajab, how it's the planting, right? It's planting the seeds. So as we're talking about making change, for in the future in history. So right now we're planting those seeds. Every time we're doing this istighfar, we're doing, salawat, we're doing all of this. We're really planting those seeds. Inshallah, Shaban, we push for the salawats, and that's, watering. And then inshallah, we'll, reap the benefit and the reward in Ramadan, and inshallah in the hereafter too. Inshallah.
Uh, so let's hear, what are we doing in Ramadan at Rabata Masjid? And just before you start, if I can say that Rabata Masjid is an open program. It's no cost at all, but you do have to be registered because it is women only. And so you have to be registered in the masjid to get the links. It's not an open link that we send out everywhere. Once you're registered, you just get the link in the different links for the different programs in your email, and you're in. And so what are we doing this month?
We
If
have
anybody wants to join us.
exciting things going on. Alhamdulillah. We have our recitations, which we've been doing for the past couple of years. So as I mentioned earlier, we'll have the normal speed recitation, which is going to be at 11. Yes, Sam? Sorry. Oh, of the Quran. Sorry.
What?
Recitation of the Quran. And we have 30 female reciters who all have ijaza and who are, and come in, and they're masters of Quran. And so we have them leading the normal recitation of the Quran at 11. And then at 12, it takes about an hour and a half. We do a very slow recitation for beginners. And it's starting at 12. We'll be done by, inshallah, 1:30. Yes. Yeah.
Can I pop about that? I just want to encourage anyone here who's listening, or if you know someone who has never finished reciting the entire Quran before, that slow recitation is for you. It is to give you the opportunity to read the entire Quran in the month of Ramadan. You start in the first day, go through it slowly with us, and you'll get there. The one that's before that at 11 o'clock is for anyone who really would like to have your heart moved by the Quran. And I really recommend both of these for anyone, but especially FYI, everyone, for those of you who've never finished the Quran, but you can phonetically decode, you can do some reading, or someone you know who can do that. It might be tough, a little bit even harder in the beginning of the month, but as you go forward, it's going to get easier. And if I may also say, if you live in Minnesota, we will be doing that in person here at the RCC in Arden Hills, which is, yes, you can join us at that for that as well. And the person who joined, I'm going to do it. I'm so excited. It's going to be both together. All right, continue. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, but I just want to make sure everyone understands.
So we have those, and then with that we do the khitma du'as. So as people are finishing, we have 2 of those. We have one, I think it's April 2nd is the first one, where you can submit your dua, but you have to join the recitation in order to get the link to have your dua. And Nancy reads to your duas, and shall we all come together. And we've seen miracles happen after you've made these duas for people, like somebody's son who was bedbound got up and started walking the next day. So, subhanAllah, there's real miracles in coming and making dua together.
And just for clarity, we don't mean got up and started walking like
Steps,
like everybody else walks, but he took his first step. It was a really answered dua,
right?
But I don't want to exaggerate either.
He took some steps, and then the second one is going to be, I believe it's April 9th. No, it's going to be at the end of Ramadan. So on the last day of Ramadan, inshallah, it will be then. And then we also have a Badr program, inshallah.
If I can just, I just want to remind everyone that we are inviting you to join us for those khitmah projects, to join us when we close and we make dua together, and we do make dua for you. You can put your dua in and we will make dua for you, but you have to be there. So it's not like you can send your dua from somewhere else. You have to be there for it. And I see someone, it's her first Ramadan. We hope to celebrate this Ramadan with you, inshallah.
So the
Okay,
Badr program
what's the Badr
we
program?
just got confirmation that Auntie Randa will be coming on. Yay, yes, and I think it's going to be April 8th, inshallah. Make sure you join our newsletter if you haven't already joined, because this is where you're going to be getting all of the updates. We also have, for the last 10 days of Ramadan, we'll be having our itikaf programs, which will be happening. So it will start at 12:30 a.m. CST, and so you want to join the newsletter so you can see what our program is going to be like, what the night will look like, because some of it's going to be personal worship time, some of it's going to be, then there'll be a talk by Auntie Khatara, and then there'll be tahleel as well. So just make sure you get on these resources. And also I see the Ramadan Ready workshop too. So make sure you join. That's actually happening before. That's happening on the 18th. So yeah, so you want to make sure you want to join that as well too. I will be one of the speakers, and so will you, Auntie. So we will both be speaking. Yes.
Yes. We'll both be speaking at the Ramadan Ready Work. That's through Ribaat, so you can check that out at ribaat.rabata.org or .ribaat.org. It's in my brain is turned around right now. Ribaat.rabata.org. That's what it is. Yes. All right. Awesome. Alhamdulillah. That's beautiful. And I think we also have the last 10 staff, and so definitely, like you're saying, join the Rabata Masjid. How do you get on the notifications for the Rabata Masjid?
Somebody's from the admins will put it in the chat. You can join that. You'll fill out the form, and then you'll be added, inshallah, to the Masjid updates, inshallah. And yeah.
And I think that
yeah.
Masjid Rabata. I think that
I know it was changed, so yeah, you're probably right. That's probably what it is. But also we also have a Laylatul Eid program too. So that's a really, really important night of worship too. So just join the newsletters and join the mailing list, and inshallah you will get all these updates.
And I see we have rabata.info/Ramadan. So that's rabata.info/Ramadan. That's wonderful. Everyone can get all that information because I know that was a lot that you just said, mashallah. We have a lot going on. If we started counting it in hours, I think we all just faint. So we won't count it in hours. We'll count it in blessings, inshallah. And we hope for the blessings for all of us, for you and I, and for everyone listening here and everyone else. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Imam Fadiyah, for joining us here. It's so nice to talk to you. I'm so glad. Thank your daughter.
Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know. It didn't, on my phone, there was no option for me to request to join. We kept joining and closing and joining and closing. And so I was like, okay, just give me your phone so I can get on. Right.
Problem solving skills. Good job. Alhamdulillah. I do want to say, if you want to put your account in the chat, then people can follow you and follow your updates and things like that of the things you're letting them know. And oh, look, someone says Rebel has raised my Ramadan level up. MashaAllah, alhamdulillah. Okay, and let me say, that's it. Thank you, Hafsa. Was that you? You put that in?
Added that. Yep.
Okay, that's awesome. All right, great. And this is Women's History Month. And so we at Rabata are recognizing that with the mission statement, like positive cultural change to creative educational experiences, we are really in that space of hashtag we are our history. And so we want to let everyone meet some of the women of Rabata. In 1 month, it's not enough time, but some of the women of Rabata that are doing the work. And thank you so much, Imam Fadiyah, for giving us your time today. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. And
thank you,
see you soon.
Wa alaikum salam.
Assalamu alaikum.